Alex Anthopoulos. I have a love-hate relationship with Alex Anthopoulos. It's not that I ever hate him. Like, I will be the first person to say that he's the best general manager the Braves could possibly have. He's fantastic. He's done so much more good than ever bad. But I also think it's fair. Like, I think a lot of people don't want to ever be critical because of that. They're just like, oh, how could you question
He's not
him?
infallible.
Yeah, like it's like he has made some mistakes.
He would be the first to tell you.
Yeah, and there's things that, like, I think as our job sitting up here talking about, we should talk about those mistakes and criticize those mistakes. But overall, best GM the Braves could possibly have, maybe the best in all of sports. Definitely, probably baseball. He's been unbelievable, and he recently received a contract extension this past offseason through 2031. He has a chance to go down as the best Braves general manager of all time. There's no doubt about it. And sometimes when guys get contract extensions, we saw it with Coach Ogeron for our LSU Tigers. I mean, they just get fat and happy, right? They're like, whatever, man. I'm famous. Like, I got millions of dollars. Like, I'm guaranteed this money. We see it with players all the time. I mean, one that sticks out, another LSU guy, maybe it's something in that water in Louisiana, Deion Jones.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's one of those, something in the water. Alex Anthopoulos turned around after signing that contract extension and turned in maybe his best offseason to date, which is saying a lot considering all the good he's done. We talked about Ronaldo Lopez. Definitely, if he's not the leader in the clubhouse for the NL Cy Young Award, he should be second or third. There's no way he is outside of the top three for that award as we currently sit here today. And we got him for 3 years, $30 million, something that nobody saw. Chris Sale, the biggest acquisition. The Red Sox are paying that guy's salary this year only for him to be another Cy Young candidate. Then you got Jared Kelenic. Been just huge since Ronald Acuna went down. Aaron Bummer, who had a little shaky start, has been unbelievable over the last month and a half. And then we re-signed Joe Jimenez and Pierce Johnson, two of the best setup men in baseball, definitely two of the best setup men on the Atlanta Braves right now. And those look like fantastic signings. I mean, when you're talking about perfect games, and we like to talk about that, is about as perfect, considering there were no huge moves, no blockbuster moves. And we didn't have $1.2 billion to sit on Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani. Yep. We had, maybe $50 million to spend. The Dodgers spent over $1.2 billion. We might have spent $100 in total. And I would say we had a significantly better offseason.
It happens time and time again where, the Braves lose out on an Aaron Nola. And the sky is falling. The Braves rotation is going to be absolutely horrid. What are we going to do? Max Fried's going to walk, this, that. Alex Anthopoulos knows what he's doing. That's 5 for 5, what you just said. That's 5 for 5.
6 for 6.
I love to say, no GM, regardless of the sport, bats 1,000. This offseason, Anthopoulos is as close as you could possibly be. Now, obviously, a lot goes into the trade deadline, and I think you should include that. But if we're just talking about the offseason, he's been, I don't want to say perfect, but damn close to perfect.
What's better than perfect? I almost want to say better.
Ronaldo Lopez is under contract for $10 million a year, and he's currently sporting the best ERA in baseball. Chris Sale leads the National League in FIP. I almost just went down the list of the rotation. Aaron Bummer has turned in an absolutely unreal stretch dating back the last 13-ish appearances. He's come out of the bullpen. And Jared Kelenic, I'm as high on Jared Kelenic as just about any outside of the Jared Kelenic fanboys. And I might be the president. And because he's just so immensely athletic and talented that, like, it just has to work out. Because when you talk about the Braves and you talk about their ability to squeeze the most out of players, Jared Kelenic is oozing with physical talent. He's finally in that everyday role. He wasn't really getting that with Ronald Acuna prior to the Ronald Acuna Jr. injury. Now he's in the leadoff role. He seems to be taking that in stride. He's playing better ball than he has all season. The OPS looks good. The power numbers are ticking up. And obviously, he's a demon on the base pass, and he's unbelievable in the field. I just love the way he plays. Oh, yeah, he's under contract for the next 4 seasons or 5 seasons, I believe. It's only going to get better, in my opinion, for Jared Kelenic. And obviously, Joe Jimenez and Pierce Johnson are two of the best high leverage relievers outside of the closers in baseball. They're guys that Brian Snitker can throw into any situation, and you can trust that they're going to limit the damage. Yeah, that's 5 for 5. I mean, Alex Anthopoulos, for as much flack as he may get in some instances, mostly relating to letting the stars walk, this guy is unbelievable in some of the minor things that just work out. We gave up Vaughn Grisham, who was never going to have a place in Atlanta because he obviously can't play the shortstop position defensively. And he turned him into Chris Sale while making Boston pay for him, and Chris Sale is turning in a career year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like you said, you don't want to say perfect. I would say what's better than perfect, because honestly, you could say 5 for 5 looks something like Chris Sale is the team's third starter, Ronaldo Lopez is an elite bullpen piece, Jared Kelenic is kind of doing what he's doing right now, but like literally Ronaldo Lopez, not a single person in the world saw this coming, and you got him for 3 years, $30 million. Like that's beyond perfect signing.
I
That's
mean, he
like an
signed that deal because he didn't see that coming. Like Ronaldo, if Ronaldo Lopez he knew he was capable of this, he would have signed for obviously starter caliber money.
Well, he wouldn't have ever gotten it, but he would have started maybe a
Right.
1 year deal, like a 1 year
Exactly.
prove it deal, and been like, let me be a starter.
Alex Anthopoulos is unbelievable.
So, like, yeah, they're like, truthfully, though, especially the Sale and Ronaldo Lopez have been better than perfect. Aaron Bummer's been one of the best relievers in baseball for the last 16 appearances. Jared Kelenic has been very good over the last few weeks, and at the very least, he looks like a guy who can start every day for this team. I know I made the argument against that, but it looks like right now he could. And then the Joe Jimenez and Pierce Johnson are just doing what they do, like exactly what they did last year, especially at the end of last year. So I almost want to say it's better than perfect. I mean, you couldn't have written, I couldn't have sat up here and even created like the most optimistic view of what was going to happen with these guys and said this. Like I couldn't have, because it's been better than anybody could have wildly predicted.
Yeah, particularly those two guys. I think a lot of people were optimistic about Jared Kelenic, and they were maybe a little bit cautiously optimistic about Chris Sale. You weren't cautious at all. I will give you credit. That, I mean, the Chris Sale thing, and I was high on Chris Sale, but it was always is the injury bug going to come up and bite him? But he's been unbelievable. I think Jared Kelenic is in a different tier than those two starters, because I think most people recognize the talent. I mean, you're not the 6th overall pick for no reason. I mean, and he did flash at times in Seattle. He could just never find it consistently. Nobody saw Ronaldo Lopez coming out of the woodwork. I mean, if this guy somehow finishes in the top 3 of the Cy Young, this will be one of the greatest stories in baseball history.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, I don't quote me
Hell,
on
if
this.
he wins it will be.
I'm pretty sure his contract is backloaded to where he's only making like $2 million in cash or something this year.
Crazy.
And Chris Sale's contract is getting paid by the Red Sox, almost all of it this year. So like they're paying like a few million.
We didn't even mention the extension Sale got.
They're paying a few $1,000,000 for 2 of the top pitchers in all of baseball right now. Jared Kelenic's not making much money. So when you think about the resources, the prospects you gave up for Aaron Bummer, why don't you go check out what Michael Soroka and Jared Schuster and Nicky Lopez are doing for the Chicago White Sox? I'll give you a hint. It isn't good. So when you put everything, like the resources he had and what he made out of it, it's pretty unbelievable. It's actually unthinkable. Like nobody could have imagined this. Unbelievable job from Alex Anthopoulos, who pitched, as I would say, better than a perfect game this offseason.